Hi folks, Joseph Kursky here with you to talk about new and improved Landsat apps. This is exciting. A new landing page now exists for apps that allow for the exploration of Landsat remotely sensed data that you and your students could use to examine geology, urban growth, water and water quality, and more, called Unlock Earth's Secrets. Unlock Earth's Secrets with ArcGIS and the Landsat Earth observation satellites. Let's take a look at this. This is wonderful because, as you probably are aware, Landsat looks at a larger part of the electromagnetic spectrum than our eyes can see. So you can look at all sorts of different spectral bands and find out why and how certain things are changing and why they exist where they do and why these changes are important. You can also do things over time. So for example, Landsat takes images of every location on the Earth once every 16 days. So you can see how things are changing, whether it's from a volcanic eruption or other natural phenomena or a human caused phenomenon like urban sprawl, for example, or construction of a reservoir or sedimentation in a river or something like that. So we've got the ability in these tools to look at things over time. Quite exciting, especially if you're teaching anything related to environment or geography. Now, Landsat, one of the reasons why it's important is that you've got basically going back to the early 1970s, folks. So we're talking, the carpenters and bread era. Some of you are wondering, who are the carpenters? But the point is that we've got 4 decades of data at our fingertips, which is really quite exciting. And having this data it means that you're in command. So for example, these apps let you, as you can see here in these tools at the left side, which I'll demonstrate in a moment, you can manipulate the image to examine certain things, and so can your students. So that's exciting times. So let's go ahead and launch the Landsat Explorer web app. This is a new tool. So the first thing you can do is obviously you can pan around the globe. This is a global data set. Right now we're looking at an area near Redlands in Southern California. What you can do is you can set up a swipe map, for example. So let's just drag this over here, and then we can figure out, okay, what time periods do we want to look at the Landsat imagery across using this sort of squeegee effect or swipe tool. You need to select the dates. So for example, if I want to look at something way back in the 1970s for this same area, I just need to click over here, and then it looks at the system, sees what kinds of images are loaded for that date, and then we can move forward from there. So for example, I've got 2000 imagery versus 2005 imagery. So you can see as I swipe across here, notice especially in the north central part of this, how the land cover has changed a bit. Of course, we can zoom and pan and get closer to that. But the idea is that we can do some pretty sophisticated, just on the web analysis here, recognizing that you've got choices here on the cloud cover, you've got the season filter here, and all kinds of other tools that you can explore on your own. But that is a fascinating part of this Landsat Explorer right here. Also, you can select map values to cover or highlight in your analysis, so that's powerful too. And then change detection between 2 dates. For example, we started that with the swipe map, but we can also do it in a different way. We can look at the difference image over here on the right-hand side. Fascinating to be able to do this with the Landsat Explorer web app. So for example, you can look at change detection. So check out these agricultural fields near Bakersfield, California in the Central Valley. It's just fascinating to be able to look at these things over space and time. You can also click on any point on your image and get this spectral profile, and you can see the different spectral profiles on here. What is urban, for example, what is forest, and how is it different from the current one you're looking at. You can also get a scatter plot. So you can actually draw on the plot to select pixels in the map, or you can click on a map to see the point in the plot. So really fascinating to be able to pull up these things for any part of the world. One more thing I want to show you before we close the Landsat Explorer app. This is probably my favorite thing of all. Look at these 2 tools on the left side. You can add data from ArcGIS Online, folks. Why am I so excited about this? Well, ArcGIS Online has a boatload, a flotilla load, an armada load of layers. So for example, if I log into ArcGIS Online, I'm going to see all kinds of information, ocean currents, the plate boundaries. I can see all kinds of things that I've actually added to my own organization. I can also look at other content that other people have added to ArcGIS Online. So that is huge. So, for example, if I want to look at World Hydro, that is a layer that I use quite a bit. It's not in my own organization. It's in ArcGIS Online, and I look under look the World Hydro reference. If I add that, I'm going to have that as a layer along with the Landsat satellite imagery. So I'm going to close this box right now, and look, I'm starting to see the World Hydro layer in there. This is incredible right here that you've got this storehouse of information that you can add to these satellite images. Also, one more related note on that, look, you can save the top layer to ArcGIS Online, whatever your layer is in this Landsat Explorer app. So for example, if I click in there, I'm going to be able to get the agriculture layer with the Landsat image inside ArcGIS Online. Pretty incredible that I can actually pull content from here into my ArcGIS Online. Now, why do I care about ArcGIS Online? Number one, I've got a lot of data at my fingertips, and number two, I can also do analysis in ArcGIS Online. So if I move some of these layers over, I can actually do some analysis, buffer, overlay, intersect, geocoding, routing, all of that stuff I can do inside ArcGIS Online. So you've got a lot more power when you move this data over from the app into ArcGIS Online. But even using the app is incredible all by itself. Now, you can also export the layer as an image, and you can find out some stories, which is actually quite good. You can find out some stories using imagery. So there's some selected stories around the world using this app. So for example, you can take a look at a couple of stories, one of which is a flood last year in India, and you can look at it inside this particular tool. So for example, the flood in Allahabad in India before the monsoon, and then you can see by applying this water mask to the May 26th image, the area covered in water can be highlighted and quantified. So you can actually do this kind of thing for selected places around the world. That is another interesting and fascinating thing that you can do to teach with remotely sensed imagery. You can also do analysis with this tool, and it's called the Landsat Explorer. Now, there's one more thing on this Unlock Earth Secrets that I wrote about in my GeoNet blog, and that is an update to Landsat on the Amazon Web Services app that was improved last year. Now, this one I've already reviewed in a different video, but this is another fascinating tool to teach and learn and do research in remote sensing, because it gives you spectral signatures for different kinds of spectral band combinations, geology, vegetation, urban studies, etc. on the left side of this particular one, and I'll just show it to you briefly because I did review it in another video. But for example, you've got in this one natural color, color infrared, and a variety of others. And there's our color infrared image. So take a look at this also. They are both described in my GeoNet blog on new and improved Landsat apps. So we've got the Landsat on Amazon Web Services that was improved recently. That's number one. And the second one is which I spent most of the time on this video, the Landsat Explorer web app. Try both of them. Thanks.